Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back to our Book of Hungry Names, Werewolf the Apocalypse Book of Hungry Names stream. Hello, hello, hello. Yes, vampires drool, werewolves rule. That is certainly a fair statement in this stream that we're doing today. We have played through so many parts of Book of Hungry Names. I don't know how close we are to the end, but I hope it's soon. Not that I want the game to end, only because it's summer here in Europe and in most places, and it's real hot. So this is going to be a hot stream of me being hot and reading. Hello. And for someone who asked the name of the music, I actually don't know the name of the music. I mean, I do. I should know the name of the music because I put it to the little opening screens, but I don't actually remember which one I picked because we have a Epidemic sound license, and I just picked one that I thought sounded neat. But this one that's playing in the background of me is called "Drag You Down." If that helps. And for the first time, I think, since beginning this, I did not have to replay any part of the chapter because there was no updates this week. So hooray for me. Hooray. We have all the members of our pack. We have Melody and Podge and Nin. We killed a drone inside of Everlight headquarters. And yeah, now we just need to, I don't know, save Broadbrook Cairn, I guess. Maybe kill the vampire, who's also our boss, that we don't know is a vampire, but anyone reading it, playing this game knows that it's a vampire. Oh, we're a little under halfway through. Oh, goodness. All right, let's do it. So we did all this stuff. We leveled up, so to speak. We got a new gift from Raccoon, so we're good. I want to, though, because as I just said, I want to start healing Broadbrook Cairn as much as we can so we can get that going. I'm going to email Melody about scouting the corrupted region, so let's do that. Yes. Sierra is ready to be a werewolf again. Melody's return email arrives after work, a terse, "Tonight, midnight, meet me at my place." You stop at Forbes Library to print out physical maps, then take the last bus to where the main road meets a dirt path that leads into the Barrows. When you arrive, Melody is already waiting for you in her lupus form, a big gray wolf. She waits for you to change, then the two of you race through the midnight woods until you reach the rivulet. How romantic. When you look around for Melody, she's adjusting her maxi dress. You attend to your own change back into Hamid form. You're getting faster at this kind of thing. In your first year as a Garu, a single change back and forth exhausted you and left you ravenous, like you just run a half marathon. But as you pull on your leather boots, you realize that you feel fine. You don't turn down Melody's granola bar, though. Oh my god, she brings snacks. She's the perfect woman. You hear whippoorwills calling you as you eat. Nin is somewhere in the woods singing her song of the moon path. Our work is simple, Melody says, checking her maps and flashlights. Our old cairn is so badly corrupted that you can see it with your human eyes, because the trees look sick. The problem is that if you try to go in, you experience a kind of fugue, presumably caused by the answering tiger, the bane spirit that now squats in our territory, and you wander in the wrong direction. But if we don't get too close, we can learn the shape of the area controlled by the bane. You'll go counterclockwise and I'll go clockwise, and we'll draw an outline of the affected area. I love it when Silverfangs order me around. If we can scout the corrupted area, we may be able to find a way toward the cairn, which I would love to find. That's what I'm thinking, Melody says. But if we find something, don't do anything stupid like running into a smoking hole into the earth without backup. It takes 2 hours to meet up with Melody on the far side of the territory. She's cradling her axe in both hands, alert for threats. Neither of you has been attacked, but... Feel like you're being watched? Melody asked. I mean, not by Nin and Whippoorwill? Yeah, you say. You both stare deeper into the woods. There's no strict demarcation zone where the trees start to look wrong. Rather, there's a variable stretch of territory where plants look sick, vegetation smells like rot, and limbs twist into shapes suggesting spirals or other glyphs. You force yourself to move into that no man's land, but once again, you experience a brief fugue and find that you've wandered in the wrong direction. You separate to finish your cartographic research, and again, nothing happens. The lightning sky still isn't bright enough to read by, so you compare mappings with your flashlights. Your outlines match. You crawl all over the hills. As dawn approaches, you start to grow convinced that the area to cover is just too large. Even if you brought all the surviving werewolves and members of the 3 families out here, you're not sure if you could find anything, especially with how bad this place makes you feel. Nin's whippoorwill song is powerful, but she's being asked to cover too large an area with her gift. You need to narrow down the territory you mean to explore. You're still doing better than Melody, but you suddenly stumble over a rock and slide painfully down a slope covered in slimy, stinking grass. Shuddering with disgust, you rise, then try to wipe the muck off your leather boots. That's still over 100 acres, Melody croaks. We're going to need more information, and I can't go back in there. At least not without a clear direction. She forces herself to smile. Still, we did well. You hear a vehicle crunching your way and start to tense up until you recognize Hoblin's Jeep. He rolls to a halt. What the hell did you two get into? He asks. He gets you both into his Jeep, stops to pick up Nin, still in wolf form, and makes sure that Melody eats an apple. You look like you saw a ghost, Melody, Hoblin says, and ate it. Nin's song kept my stomach from eating my brain, the Philodox says. Then she tells Hobland about your scouting expedition. He drops you off at your cabin, then rolls away to drop Melody and Nin off at the Beninsky mansion. You crawl into bed just as the sun rises. Well, that was a fun expedition. Oh no. Back to work, is it? What? No, we would never do something stupid. Why would you even say that? A bad day at Gorski Manor, which is an average day, I imagine, the sort of dreary, dull day full of human indignities that make the wolf shrink and whimper, that makes you feel like any other no-college experience fringer in a dying civilization. It's rare that you're ever physically exhausted, but Garu are vulnerable to a sort of extinction of the spirit. It happened to the surviving Broadbrook Garu, who spent the years since their disastrous last battle in various states of paralysis. Except maybe Podge. It could happen to you. Hurrah no! You shake the feeling off and hop on your bike. You glance north toward the cairn. And for a moment you see something. A steel mountain. A tower of holographic light stretching up to heaven. A fortress of lies. You see it plain as day. And then you see the horizon burning and smell the reek of the world corpse. The earth screams. And then it's all gone. No mountain of lies. Just a cold, empty sky. That's comforting. Thank you, Gaia. Appreciate you. I investigate the umbral pipeline we first noticed in Holyoke because that was cool. So let's do that. Yes, it's time to follow that glass wire, spirit trail, energy. Okay, first you need a term for it. Your phone buzzes. They're called pattern lines, and you're in over your head. Not even Owl can help you see clearly. Jesus, Daphne, are you reading my mind? Well, do glasswalkers get mind speak? Or is that just a ghost council thing? I actually don't remember. If it is, she kinda can. Good morning, Miss Clear. Whatever they are, they're corrupting the spirit world. There's not much left. Oh, wait, we gave her a southern accent because of the way she talked. There's not much left of the spirit world to corrupt. The Umbra is a wasteland, the digital web of a skein of rotting data. Meet me at these coordinates at 10:30 p.m. Bring the Wolfborn, obviously. Say what you want about glasswalkers, they're precise. You text Nin and explain that she and Whippoorwill are both needed. Once you're sure Nin understands where she needs to go, you use your map program to determine the exact location Miss Clear means. Then shift into your lupus form and lope out of town. The journey takes you north through pitch-black woods as clouds hide the crescent moon. The night air is cold and the earth smells like rotting vegetation. Translating GPS coordinates into nomad wolf vibes isn't easy, but Nin finds you and hops until you follow her. She seems entirely confident in her navigation skills, and indeed, when you change back into your Homid form and check your phone, you're about 100 feet from your target destination. It's so dark that you flick on your flashlight to walk the rest of the way. The attack dogs are waiting for you. That's amazing. I love that so much for me. Relax, they're harmless, Daphne Clear says as her servants flank you and Nin. The sleek Dobermans watch you with cool intelligence, ranging back and forth, moving with eerie coordination. Then they both stop as if from a command you didn't hear. They've calculated the ideal range to attack from before you could change. Their eyes watch you like cameras. Each is more than twice the size of Nin, Jesus, who is conspicuously small for a wolf. Well, mostly harmless, Miss Clear says. Sierra, please meet Thivai and Abhor. What the Sure. Why not? Why not give them those names? They're cyber hounds. They're cybernetic murder dogs. What am I supposed to do with this information? This is too much for Sierra's brain. We're here to do a job. Where is the pattern line? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that information. Literally. Huddy doesn't know and Sierra doesn't know. What are we here to do? Honestly. cheese. You know what I should do with my money and my time? I'm gonna make cybernetic attack dogs. Ask Owl, Miss Clear says. The spirit materializes and swirls around something you can almost see. That has to be it. The problem, Miss Clear says, is that this line stretches all the way from Everlight HQ in Holyoke North to where we are now in Whately. I've confirmed that it's not further north, but I can't quite isolate where it stops. Thevai and Abhor snuffle around. They are, you realize, natural dogs. Okay. Thevai's long piss on a tree trunk reveals the truth, though Miss Clear seems to have some gift or technique that increases their efficiency and obedience. Okay. Alright, then I feel much less weird about this whole situation. Thank you. I appreciate you clarifying that for me. It looks like the Glasswalker drove here as her Polestar is parked on gravel. Eschewing her ordinary business wear, Miss Clear wears a black sweater, gray tactical pants, and gloves. She has some kind of sidearm strapped to her hip, but the sweater covers it. Before you can inquire, she dons a pair of mirrored sunglasses and shifts so you're behind her and to her side. Through the glasses, you can just barely catch a glimpse of a shimmering glass tunnel across the night sky. The glasses are, somehow, identical to the owl spirit you employ. This pattern line is corrupt, Miss Clear says. Other Garu would say it stinks of the worm. The data and or power flowing through it, and to clarify, in the spirit world, knowledge is power in a real and literal sense, has been made to serve the worm. Melody tells me that you've scouted the Bon. She actually used that word. Isn't that charming? Look at this. Her tablet displays a digital version of the mapped outline you and Melody made. She presses a button and the spirit line appears. It just touches one corner of the Bon, to use an archaic term, the area immediately around a cairn. Another keystroke turns that area red. It's only a few acres in extent. We follow the pattern line north to the area around the cairn, Miss Clear says. There must be something where they intersect. Owl flies up and circles the pattern line. You can't see the umbral structure itself, but your spirit and Miss Clear's glasses agree as everyone follows the zigzagging pattern in the sky. You follow Miss Clear, sketching the pattern line on a physical map, while she scans the tree tops and Thevai and Abhor range through the woods, hunting for threats. The spirit line branches, but most of those branches wander in the wrong direction, away from the cairn, so you retrace your steps. It's forming a kind of grid or web, Miss Clear says. If there are other terminus points, they're worth exploring, but we should focus on where the pattern line crosses your old territory. Finally, you move directly toward where the cairn should be and feel a wave of nausea and dislocation. Something is deflecting you from the true path. This is it, Miss Clear says. We've narrowed it down to just a few acres where the pattern line crosses the heart of Broadbrook. Where is she? You look around. Nin has vanished. Abhor! Miss Clear says, tell her to sing. A moment later, Nin howls her song of the moon path. You can't tell if a path appears or if you just perceive the safe way to travel. It's like looking at the starry sky and then suddenly perceiving a constellation. You place one foot carefully on the path, then another. The nausea and dislocation are gone. Well, good luck, Miss Clear says, unwilling to step onto the path. Thanks, Daphne. Appreciate it. Pet them? I don't know. The way that they made it seemed like they were cyber dogs. And unless we're playing Fallout, I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of cybernetic dogs. The wisdom of the elders, indistinguishable from cowardice. Gotta love it. I keep moving. I'm sassy and a ragabash. Let's not forget that. I don't say it out loud, obviously, though, because I'm also a coward. Maybe no one except you is ever going to get this far. Moving cautiously, you follow the apparent trail deeper into the woods. When you look back, Daphne has disappeared behind a low hill. Old Garu claimed they could smell the stink of the worm. In your experience, it was mostly an excuse to condemn their political enemies. You're constantly tormented by bad smells, but only in the same way Nin is tormented by a dissonant chord she calls Gaia's howl. The world is dying, and it's impossible for Garu to ignore. But you can definitely smell something distinctly now, even with your numb and near useless human senses. A vile reek like burning plastic, or if all the chlorine in the world couldn't cover up the stink of rotting vegetation in a forgotten pool. Ugh. Following the dim reflections cast by Nin's Song of the Moon Path, you step cautiously into the deeper woods. The forest hangs in tatters around you, chewed to paper lace as if by 10,000 invisible caterpillars. Dead already, the trees shiver in the thin autumn breeze, bits of leaves and grass blowing like ash from the heart of a wildfire. As you keep walking, you find desiccated foxes hanging in huge webs. Oh god. Their lips peeled back in a half snarl, half grimace, as if they had smelled something disagreeable at the moment of death. Owl floats silently among the branches, eager to help you scout. Whoa. God. That's so gross. What? Rex was a good boy. I mean, far below best boy, but best boy Edie, but still, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. I can't talk about Fallout because we're on the WOD stream, but I'm a huge fan of Rex. There's another one. There was another cybernetic dog brain in Fallout that I just can't remember at the moment. I think it was a girl dog that I'm just blanking on. But yes. Yes. It was the only reason I helped the Kings, because I wanted that Rex. Worm-stained wilderness is still wilderness, and I use my survival skills to look for trails of animals, people, or things that were once animals or people. Oh god, this is gonna be awful. No reason to overthink things. You follow the because, you know what? Thinking too hard is not Sierra's vibe. You follow the mutilated and mummified foxes. The webbed corpses lead you deeper into the rot. You stop when you spot something carved into a slimy black trunk, not a Garu glyph. It might be some kind of ward or trap. You edge around it and continue to follow the trail you've uncovered until you hear a faint humming, like you're standing beneath power lines. The pattern line. You're so close to it you can hear it. You range back and forth until you know where it is above you, then follow it to something you never imagined you'd find here. Great. Great. If I learned anything from the WOD Discord, Fallout will always take over conversation. You know what, Jerry? That's more than fair. That's more than you are completely correct about that statement. What have you found? A roadside restaurant? What? You look up to the black trees to check again, but it's no illusion. Below you is an ordinary road with a restaurant, currently open despite the late hour. You don't have any bars out here, but the Wi-Fi doesn't need a password. That's what you're using to contact Miss Clear. Uh-huh. Describe it. Also check the stars. Are they the stars you know? Discomfited by that question. I think it means discomforted, not discomfited. Maybe. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not so good with English. It might be my mother tongue, but I don't know them big fancy words. You look up, but the few stars you can see through the cloud cover look quite ordinary. You range back and forth, scouting the restaurant from the nearby woods. You smell hamburgers and see motorcycles, the clink of beer bottles, and a blast of classic rock when the door swings open. It's a biker bar. You send a picture, but the connection is bad enough that it times out. But Miss Clear responds with a link to Esther's bar. That's it. Who up? How did you gain access to this conversation, Patrick? You're in our group chat, Daphne. Oh, right. Oh my god, Podge. WF, did you wake me up? Who's Angry Hippos? I forget. Is that Melody? Sierra found the bad guys. I forget. I think Angry Hippos is Melody. Or, yeah, it must be. Oh my god, should I just go in and beat up the bikers until I get info? It's just a stupid question. Discomforted would be correct there? Discomforted would be correct there? Okay, well, I never assume I'm correct about anything Vampire Bites. Ever. That is a dangerous game to blame. What game is this? This is the Book of Hungry Names. Werewolf the Apocalypse, the Book of Hungry Names. It is a sort of choose-your-own-adventure novel that you can play the demo for free right now on Steam. And it's pretty cool. It's very fun. Fuck yeah. I love that Podge enables me to do stupid things. It's kind of why I think I'm falling in love with him. Like Arnold in the first Terminator movie, except not naked. Actually, wait, are you naked? Do not walk into random biker bars and pick fights. Do not do that, Sierra. Melody is correct. Fall back and we'll make plans. Ooh. It doesn't really let me go. Okay, there's no option for me to really go in and just start swinging. Even if I love to smash something right now, I don't bang through the front door, but I look around for trouble. All right. So it's obviously encouraging me not to just start beating up random bikers. I see you. I see you, Kyle. I see you. There's probably worse stuff than bikers in that bar. I fall back and we'll make plans to go in as a group. I'd love to take Podge with me and beat up bikers with Podge if that's possible. That would be amazing. Yes. Werewolf the Apocalypse has a 5th edition out now. And this is based on the 5th edition of Werewolf the Apocalypse. And I love it. I've become obsessed with Werewolf the Apocalypse since I started playing with it. So much so I'm running my own Werewolf the Apocalypse Chronicle right now. Violence is always an answer. Might not be the right one, but yeah. Well, with werewolves, violence is usually the answer. And usually the wrong answer. But it is an answer. And it's the most convenient answer, the easiest answer, and the answer that your wolf wants you to do. So you just do it. Just as you turn to leave, 2 white men in their 20s stumble outside, arguing. Data is data, so you snap pictures of each, then get a picture of one man's Yamaha motorcycle as he roars off into the night. You parallel the road on the restaurant side of the woods for a quarter mile until you spot Devai and Abhor padding calmly up the road, their movements perfectly synchronized. A moment later, the headlights of Miss Clear's car slice across the dirty asphalt. Bring Podge. Leave your dogs and bring Podge. You're prepping to run your first 5th edition game. That's very exciting. This is also my first. Very exciting. Mock. I try and give everyone unique accents. Hop in, she says. Thevai and Abhor spring into the back while you get the passenger seat. Miss Clear accelerates, lost in thought, and you're home in less than 10 minutes. Podge wants to talk your ear off, and I would let him. No, I'm not too exhausted. No, that's wrong. Incorrect. That is an incorrect statement. I would never be too exhausted to listen to Podge talk. But you're exhausted after prowling through the autumn woods for hours. You wave him off until tomorrow and crawl into bed. False. False. Never would have happened. Sierra must be in some sort of fugue state. Never. All right. I tried to track down Conrad Merritt before, and I'm not smart enough to do it. I don't have the wherewithal of doing this, so that's not going to work for us. So we need to make a serious plans to visit Esther's bar. I contact Podge and the others. Yes, Podge, hey. What you doing, boo? This isn't the sort of organizing that can be conducted in the group chat. After some preliminary back and forth, Podge tells you that everyone will meet at GRC Media the night after next at 8 o'clock. Don't worry, Podge says. I got her to order dinner. Yeah, she's not part of Broadbrook, but obviously Daphne knows stuff and and is really intuitive and has a lot of weird technology, so she's probably useful. She probably knows at least as much as we do, but let's make sure we learn everything we can from her. Yeah. I don't trust these damn elders. And not give away too much, Podge says. I think Daphne's on the level with us, but she has her own goals, and so does Spida. We need to use her techno powers to figure out what's going on at the spa. And with that pattern line leading right to it, I think we need her. It's a 10-minute walk through the fields and backyards to the glossy new building next to the crumbling iron bridge. Thevai and Abhor are waiting in the mostly empty parking lot. Thevai escorts you and Podge into the building while Abhor pads up the fire escape to stand guard on the roof. Those robot wolves creep me out. Same. Podge is the best. I love him. They're organic dogs, you say. You've seen them piss. Only a pervert would build a robot to piss that much, and you don't think Daphne is a pervert. We don't know her. Again, not something I would think. We don't know her. We don't know what she's into. What's your favorite setting for werewolf? Urban, rural, or wild? So, initially, I would have said urban because most of what I had read about werewolf was a lot of urban werewolves. I'm a YouTuber, or I still am a YouTuber, but that's what I did before I started working as a community ambassador for World of Darkness. And so a lot of my lore stuff, lore videos that I made for Werewolf the Apocalypse involved, I was really obsessed with Septa the Greenfield in Central Park in New York City. So I really had this cool idea of urban werewolves. It's really how I thought of them. But when I started running my own chronicle, I said, you know what? I want to try running rural werewolves, or sort of werewolves in the wild, because I live in Germany, and the Black Forest here is a very, famous for, like, Grimm's fairy tales, but a very dense place, the Black Forest, right? Dense woods. Some places so dark the sun doesn't penetrate it, right? So I said, it would be really cool to run wolves in a cairn in the deep woods of the Black Forest, and deep woods in other parts of Germany. So that's what I did, and I actually really, really like it. I think I like it even more than I like the concept of urban werewolves. Both good, but I think that's my favorite. Sorry, that was a longer explanation than I meant it to be. You're waiting for the return of New York by Night for the return of my recaps of New York by Night? That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Can't blame you. You're just outside of Boston, so you've set your game. I Cape Ann. I was raised. Well, I can't say I was raised, because I was raised all over the place. But I'm from Boston. I've lived all over the place. I've lived in Newton. I've lived in Brookline. I've lived in Woburn. I've lived in Burlington. I've lived all over the place. That's so funny that you say that. That's why when I do the accent, it's not that difficult for me to do the Boston accent. I just don't use it anymore. Okay. Organic dogs. It is creepy. It is really creepy to use your gifts to make a living animal act like a robot. It's really creepy. I agree, and I don't know how to feel about it, and I don't really like it. And I don't know if I want to defend her about it. That's my problem. What if there were a better way for humans to relate to animals? If the glasswalkers can find it, we can't fuss about what's natural. We need weapons. I don't know how much I want to defend this action. Because he's not wrong. Spider does have a lot to do with the Weaver. Spider is, it can get real weird with Spider. This seems like the most middle ground here. She described it as research. What if there were a better way for humans to relate to animals? If the glasswalkers can find it, we can't fuss about what's natural. That just seems like the middle ground here, because I really don't know how to feel about it, to be perfectly honest. Spider is best girl. Nice to see. Oh, in Revere. In Revere, I used to go to Revere Beach all the time. Actually, my dad had a store in Chelsea. That's really funny. Another masshole, yeah. I haven't lived in Massachusetts since I was 19, which was a very long time ago. But that is where I grew up. Spider is best girl. Inside of the beach. Spider is best girl. I have such conflict. I mean, I love the Glasswalkers. For sure, when Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory comes out, I'm going to play a Glasswalker Theurge, because I love the concept of a Glasswalker Theurge. But man, there's just something that, like, feels so dangerous about being a Glasswalker and having Spider as your patron spirit. Exciting, dangerous kind of in an exciting way, and also in a, like, things, could turn real bad kind of a way, which I enjoy. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Daphne. I'm still on the fence about her. So what? She's gonna mass produce super dogs and sell them at pet stores, Podge says. The Bone Gnar stares at himself in a floor-to-ceiling glass door from messy red hair to grubby sneakers. I don't pretend to understand the Glasswalkers, but I think the idea is to find new ways of relating to animals and to see if humans can adopt any of those ways. Humans can't use gifts, Podge says. Why not? Miss Clear asks, appearing on the other side of the glass door and sliding it open. They use everything else, and by definition, a gift is a reciprocal relationship. Maybe that's what humanity needs, power that can be rescinded at any time. But enough about humanity and their faults. Come inside and eat something. Since you're not traipsing through the woods this time, Miss Clear wears the sort of flawless office wear you rarely see in a casual town like Northampton. Black blazer and pantsuit, white silk blouse, no sidearm. How wonderful to see you again, Sierra, Miss Clear says, taking your hand in both of hers. I enjoy your presence more when I don't have to share it with two police officers. And you've done such exceptional work to bring us here. Please come inside. And Podge, I followed your career with great interest. Thank you, ma'am. I'm an eco-terrorist, he says. Mwah. And with such varied and creative methods, she says, leading you both through the GRC media reception area that you haven't seen in months, then a polished wooden steps to a conference room. Melody and Elton are already here. This isn't a formal occasion, so just sit wherever you like. The Silver Fang, dressed in a fisherman's sweater to fend off the autumn chill, and the Shadow Lord in a gray suit and black turtleneck, wave for you to sit down. Nin, dressed in a silkscreen jacket over an old hog-thrown Dare 16 t-shirt, is right behind them. That's a very American Dare, the Dare campaign. She has her face smushed against the window, looking down on Pleasant Street like she's never seen a street before. Once everyone is seated around the irregularly shaped glass conference table, Miss Clear brings out heaping plates of Thai food from the place at the street. She is a flawless, gracious host. The Glasswalker's in-person behavior is as polite, friendly, and charming as her digital persona is brusque and domineering. So this is what Glasswalkers do to help people. I gesture to the screens on the walls advertising humanitarian nonprofits. Are you saying you have the urge to play a Theurge? Often. Theurge is probably my favorite Auspis. I'm playing a Ragabash here because I do like them as well. But yes, Theurge is probably my favorite. No, don't show yourself out. I'm all about dad puns. Glasswalkers were the only tribe I ever played, but to be honest, I'm much more into Vampire, Mage, Demon. I enjoyed the novels a little less. Yeah, I'd have Vampire is still probably my favorite. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Changeling. I go back and forth between Changeling and Wraith being my favorite setting. Depends on which day you ask me. But then probably Vampire would be my second favorite. Non-profits are a swindle, Melody says. Ah, Her Highness has thoughts on my humanitarian work, Miss Clear says. I've read, Melody starts to say. What, The Grapes of Wrath and Ethan Frome? Miss Clear says. You should have gone to college instead of getting trapped in a tree for 3 years like Ariel. That's from the third book you probably read. So I really can't have a beer? Podge says. You're not old enough, Mr. Hodge. Miss Clear says. Even our queen's not above the law. Melody, who is 23, angrily sips her cur pamplemousse. Miss Clear starts to speak again, but then Podge cuts her off. Okay, first, don't be a bitch to Melody. Patrick, Elton snaps, but Podge waves him off. Second, what the fuck are you even doing with all this? He asks, gesturing to the screens and fine furniture. It's like everything you do is designed to slow us down. You dragged out Sierra's investigations when she first showed up. You hassled me in Holyoke when I've had work to do. And you left me and Nin to rot, half real, trapped in phantasms, Melody says. Her eyes narrow dangerously. What are you doing, Glasswalker? I will remind all of you, Elton says, staring angrily out the window, that Miss Clea was polite enough to cover up our previous activities, which has not exactly been subtle. Explosions in 4 Dead Holyoke and in Ashfield, chaos at an illicit music venue. This arguing is pointless. We're all on the same side here. We're here to help Gaia. How can we do that? Guys, the Ragabash should not be the voice of reason. Ever. But I guess it's up to me, you know. I'm just selfless like that. This game is set in Massachusetts. That is where this game is set. I'm blanking on exactly. Is it Northampton? Is it Northampton is where it's set? I'm blanking. Someone in the chat can probably tell you, because I forget. Because we've been to so many places. We've been all over the place. It's somewhere in Western Mass. I can't remember the name of the town. It's Western Mass. Do you think this Glasswalker gives a damn about Gaia? Podge snaps. All she does is jerk us around. I think you overestimate her abilities, bruv, Elton says. We do that a lot, don't we? Miss Clear says. Too many accents, trying to diffuse some of the tension. Overestimate ourselves, I mean. That's what put our nation into such a sorry state. And I think it's what destroyed the Broadbrook Garu. All 4 survivors glare dangerously at Miss Clear, who says, Hear me out. Or rather, think back to that night, the Battle of Graves Farm. Elton, your wife Catherine, was one of the most promising Theurges of her generation. You found, I'm sorry again to bring this up, but I must. The rage drains out of the room as each survivor of the Battle of Graves Farm retreats to their own painful memories of the night. Elton, you found Catherine dead, not far from my husband Linus, deed name Knife Eyes, and Melody's human sister Harmony. This was after you escaped from the jail cell of the Broadbrook elders threw you into. How did Catherine die? Elton sips his beer, closes his eyes. Her heart was burned out, he says after a moment. Balefire. Fulmore acid, not sure what caused it. Was there no autopsy? Miss Clear says. What about police reports? I didn't delete everything when I came here. I couldn't. 46 people died. Before Elton can answer, Miss Clear turns to Melody. You fled. Melody's eyes burn into the older woman's. Why did you flee, Melody? The glasswalker asks. The silver flang blinks. Podge, you're an Arun, Miss Clear says, and you know how to fight. How many enemies did you kill once you got out and joined the battle? How many? Podge asks. Banes, Fomori, Black Spiral Dancers. Miss Clear lists them on her fingers. What did you fight? Do you even know? All the others have fallen silent. Their expressions show a mix of confusion and mute animalistic horror. Melody is the first one to speak. I don't remember a thing, she says. The next half hour is a mess of confusion. The survivors eat mechanically as they try to describe... That's why no one's talking about it, because no one remembers? The survivors eat mechanically as they try to describe everything they remember about the Battle of Graves Farm. You pour yourself a glass of wine as an increasingly frustrated Miss Clear is too focused on your packmates to pay you any mind. But they sound like dementia patients. My God. It'll be painful to lean on someone, but you need information. We do. Elton. Come on, buddy. Why did the Broadbrook elders lock you up? That's an excellent question. Christ. Yes, I if it's, well, my phone, it's me, Jerry. I am the Lasombra that is making your internet not work. I need to pass it to someone so my internet will work. I'm so sorry about it. Hi, Furtis, welcome in. Yes, I'm so sorry. Roll Positive Gaming. I'm so sorry that I can't remember the exact town. I want to say it's Northampton. That's what I want to say, but that's probably wrong. But it's in Western, because I remember when I was playing in the beginning of it, we start off in sort of Western New York, and we travel to Western Mass, and I mapped it out on Google Maps, but I can't remember the name of that town anymore. It's been too many. This is part like 11 or something of me playing this. It's been too long. That's none of your bloody business, Elton says. What? I want to know. Control yourself, Elton, Miss Clear says. We cannot show our rage, you know that. Broadbrook was supposed to be an alliance, the Thayer snaps, an equal alliance of Silverfangs and Shadowlords, with rooms for other tribes, but it never was. You never trusted us, Elton says, rounding on Melody. Most of my friends were Shadow Lords, Elton, Melody says. I was a kid who was never supposed to change. I didn't care about politics because I wasn't the heir to the palace line. My sister was. Don't put this on me. I didn't lock you up. And whoever did is dead now, Elton, Podge says, because it wasn't one of us. Hominy marched me into that cellar, Elton says, and made sure I wouldn't get out. But she said, no, it wasn't her decision. Even when they were going to fight, Melody, your sister was sure someone had betrayed us all. And Hominy didn't think it was me. She just had to do as she was told. I broke out when Oh, I remember. Elton takes a moment to compose himself, then says, Lincoln Nash crashed into my window so hard he cracked the concrete. I didn't see who killed him, but I was able to get out. Then I saw it drifting through the woods, toward where everyone was converging. That suit, that space suit. The response from Miss Clear, who apparently doesn't know about Eater of Names, is understandable. The fuck, she says. A very brief summary, Elton says, is that Eater of Names led the attack on Broadbrook during the Battle of... Oh, hang on, my dog. My dog. Cloudy. 1 second. Sorry. My doorbell rang. Okay, here we go. Start over again. A very brief summary, Elton says, is that Ita of Names led the attack on Broadbrook during the Battle of Graves Farm. From what little we learned before the battle, he was a black spiral dancer theurge, notable for his command of balefire and for a kind of armored suit he wore that he inherited from his predecessor, a dancer called Breaker of Wings. Our elders considered him a minor nuisance, leftovers from their cleanup at the nuclear power plant in Vermont. I feared he was quite a bit more than another fallen werewolf with dreams of bringing about the apocalypse, so they threw me in a hole during the fight. Elton is normally quite composed for a werewolf, but he's burning with fury right now, remembering what happened to him. The Glasswalker rubs her temples. I think that whatever happened at that battle is affecting all of us, she says. We're not thinking clearly. Maybe not, Elton says, but we all remember a man in something that resembles either a spacesuit or a diving suit. He looks around to confirm that. Drifting through the trees, Melody whispers, like falling snow. They all shiver. Oh my goodness. Sorry. He's very vocal today. Black Spiral Dancer. Eater of Names is too spooky for puppy. Yeah, apparently. Apparently it's too spooky of a story. Okay. That drone we vaporized back in Holyoke also talked about. That's true. Also talked about him. Now I almost regret roasting him. I mean, I don't, but kind of. Kind of. It seems he's done his damage, though, Miss Clear says. Those glass wires that end at Esther's bar are Weaver phenomena, and they're transmitting huge amounts of data. I have, however, managed to track down his final communications, shortly before the assault on Everlight's Holyoke HQ. He was discussing Ita of Names. He's dead, Melody says. It discusses him in the past tense, the Glasswalker says, and Melody relaxes. But despite being sent to watch the Battle of Graves Farm, he did not see Ita of Names die. If I saw him die, Elton says. He wipes away a sudden tear. You can't tell if it's grief or the strain of forcing himself to remember. After a soldier killed Harmony, Catherine and Knife Eyes took those soldiers apart, then they found Ita of Names after he burned the den. They fought in Krynos form, no gifts or sorcery, just tearing at each other. They all went down. Catherine got up, Knife Eyes and Ita of Names didn't. I tried to bury Knife Eyes afterwards, Nin says. I used a shovel with my hands. But who or what killed Knife Eyes, Podge says. He looks ready to lose it. Like, what the fuck did we fight? I remember using my hands, too. They were red and black, but what? There was something in the sky, Melody says slowly, like stripes gliding across the whole world. The answering taiga, Elton says. Whatever the fuck that is, Podge shouts. And one guy in a spacesuit against how many? 50 of us? And we all fucking died? Mr. Hodge, you're having a game over man moment. Game over, man. Game over. It's bug hunt, man. Sorry. Mr. Hodge, you're having a game over man moment, Miss Clear says, and you need to collect yourself. The Arun seems to calm down. There's silence for a long time. Then into the silence, Nin says, we killed ourselves, didn't we? What is happening? Another long pause. The food has gone cold. Miss Clear probably did not come from money, you note, as she automatically starts clearing it away while the others try to remember. No, Podge finally says. I remember Fomori. I fought them. But when Sierra and I investigated last winter, Elton says, we barely found any signs of fighting. This is so weird. This is so weird. This is weird, weird, weird. What's weird is if I could wander around the woods and find a battlefield, where were the cops? Regular people died. Was there an investigation? Yes, please. Please, answers. I need them. No, Podge and Miss Clear both say. I mean, there were a few follow-ups, Podge says. The FBI field office down in Springfield sniffed around for a while, but they acted like cops investigating a stolen bike, not the FBI investigating 50 or more disappearances. Barely a ripple in the news either, Miss Clear says. In fact, that's what originally brought me here. The huge hole in reporting. But did any of us follow up? Melody asks. It's like we all just forgot to look. You can feel her anger at that. Stormcat and I retraced Sierra's steps, Elton says. After the spring thaw, I recorded everything I could. Send me the data, Miss Clear says. It's in a notebook, Elton says. I'll scan it at work, but there wasn't anything useful. 12 broken weapons, 4 broken vehicles, a hand? Elton rubs his forehead. You look bad, man, Podge tells him. Too much to worry about. Nin sings. Shooting at the walls of headache, pang pang, I am the warrior. Drumming on the desk. Oh, Nin's a delight. I can tell this was I think Kyle lives in Maine actually, but I might be wrong about that. I think Kyle lives in Maine. Werewolves having to do in-checks to remember. I mean, it's fair enough. Look, if you can't laugh at your... Look, I'll laugh all day at all the silly vampire stereotypes. Come on, girl. Give us a break, the Theurge says. Trying to snap you out of it, Nin says. Oh, also, I also scouted. Nin brought me some bones to bury, Melody says. Thank you, Nin. But I tried invocations and gifts to learn more, and I didn't get anywhere. There are 5 of us now, lest us forget. Isn't there some kind of rite we can use to enter, or at least see? All eyes turn to Elton. The very power of the Broadbrook cairn at its height makes that difficult, the Theurge says. The whole area had been meticulously warded and secured by 10 generations of Garu's spirit workers, including some of the most skilled occultists the nation ever produced, like Catherine. Many of those protections still exist. I'd need an army of Theurges to cut through them before we could even turn our attention to whatever is lurking in the cairn now. But what about that bar, Esther's? Melody asks. That was never in the heart of our territory. This was always supposed to be a meeting about Esther's bar, Miss Clear says. The truth is that I hoped we'd find some better approach, but this is the best we can do. Scout Esther's, hope it connects to Neo-Albion, and hope Neo-Albion connects to the answering tagger. I don't trust Esther's, there are too many cops hanging around it too often, but that only hints that it might be connected to something interesting. I'm going to conduct digital and in-person surveillance. Once I'm satisfied, we should consider entering as a small group and investigating the pattern line. The others glance at you and at each other. The Glasswalker is dragging things out again. Are her concerns rational? Is it because the answering tiger is influencing her? Or is it because, like every elder, she has her own agenda? We can wait, but I want to know more about cops and other threats. I'm not walking blind into some kind of worm pit. Yes, please. Because I would, and will, probably do that later. Maniacs are a little more polite than massholes. I mean, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I'll begin my research tomorrow, Miss Clear says. She turns to Elton. And I'll want copies of your investigations. You better get right to work, Melody says. No drifting off, no dragging things out. I'm not waiting more than a month, Daphne. The Glasswalker seems ready to dispute Melody's assertion of her authority, then she realizes that arguing the litany with a Silverfang Philodox is about the worst thing a werewolf can do. We're all trying, Melody, is all she says as Podge takes off, followed by the 2 Dobermans. They're following his bag of cold chicken wings. Nin pads away in wolf form. Then let's call it a night, Elton says. Thank you for dinner, Daphne. I'll send you my research. Everyone drifts apart. You're the last to go, leaving the Glasswalker alone in the dark and empty GRC offices, staring at the advertisements flickering on the walls. Everyone seems to want to be alone. Whatever happened during the Battle of Grace Farm has left a void of meaning in the hearts of your companions, even Daphne Clear, who arrived afterwards. They seem incapable of pointing themselves at the heart of their lost cairn. Of course, you've also tried to plunge deeper into Broadbrook and failed. Maybe more research will help, but you fix Melody's 1-month time limit in your mind. You have to act. Whatever happened during the Battle of Grace Farm, you can't let it paralyze you. You get home and physically circle the date on your paper calendar, then add reminders to your phone. You can't forget. Okay, I guess I'll try and... I tried this already and it didn't work, so try the Conrad Merritt thing again. You know how to conduct an investigation, and you get to work around shifts. You get to work around shifts at Gorski Manor and visits to the remaining Garu spiritual sites. Hoblin comes back with an interesting rumor about someone or something called Astor. Oh, this is different. He's not even sure he heard it right, but someone was talking about both Conrad and Astor. Maybe you could follow up on that. Yes, please. Want to look for Astor or Astors that one of the Cult of Fenris flunkies mentioned. Yes, please. You run a few Google searches for the local area and then local bars without much luck, but you're not much of a computer person. You hit the streets one morning before your shift starts. There aren't any Astor's bars or restaurants, nor Astoria, which is your second thought. You get your hopes up when you find an attorney named Astor, and you arrange for 2 meetings under false pretenses, confident that your deception will hold up. You don't want to boast, but you do a fantastic job investigating the place, rifling through papers and when the secretary isn't looking, asking leading questions, trying to make a link between this place and Huvud Development, the Cult of Fenris front. But after a week of bugging this guy, you're sure there's nothing, no connections. A false lead then. It happens. You text Elton and tell him what happened so he doesn't duplicate your efforts. Great. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do here. I've done all the things. What else do you want me to do? Ooh, email from Ashley. Nin. Yeah. Investigated Esther's. I love Nin so much. She's adorable. Nin's CC'd just about everyone she knows on the far side of the Vale, including Roscoe. Hello, everyone. I hope this email finds you well. The weather today is cool and misty. Trevor and I just played a show at Esther's. It was very nice. The people were friendly and they liked our music. I had to play some Tom Petty, but that was okay. Afterward, I scouted with Owl and found that the pattern line disappeared underneath the building. The building has a basement and I explored it, but there's only beer and wine, so I don't know where the pattern line goes. Into the Umbra? I could not check. But I'm worried because some police followed me until I hid in the woods where all the spiderwebs are. Ashley Nin. www.sainthomunculus.bandcamp.com. In less than a minute, Elton responds. Damn it, Nin, why didn't you consult with me? You can't just wander around key investigation sites. Nin's response just a few minutes later. I did not consult with you because when I mentioned the subject, you said you had to put books away, and then you left for the back room of the bookstore and put books away. Also, I didn't mention everything I learned because you keep telling me not to dominate a conversation. For example, I learned that the bartender knows Sierra by appearance but not by name. Excuse me? Hello, excuse me? So if she went there, she would be recognized, and maybe that recognition would go to someone? Like Heinrich? I did not go with Podge because so many people know him, and whenever I go waswamwa with Melody, all the guys and half of the girls follow her around and grovel for her to step on them. That's so fair and valid. Can you blame them? And you are black and look... And you are black, and look, I know I was Bonar, a wolf, but this crowd was very white, Elton, and the tall black guy with an accent who dresses like Javert would stand out. Even I know that. So I went with my bandmate, and now we can play shows there whenever so I can get inside. Get his ass, Nin. Best writer. Nin's the best writer. Nin, I want my text only to be filtered through Nin from now on. Get his ass, Nin. Thank you, Sierra. I feel I work very hard for Gaia and do good things, and I am constantly being criticized by someone who spent 3 years lying face down on a rug. God, she's so good. She's so right. Nin can do no wrong. You can hear Elton's irritation as he responds. Then let's deal with what comes next. I'm going to summon up some spirits to monitor the bar, and I'm interested in Podge's plan for Conrad Merritt, assuming we can get anywhere there. I've also contacted Miss Clea about identifying the people in the photo Sierra took, but even if Esther's appears safe, what about the spiderwebs in the woods? The wards around the building? We need to move carefully. Oh, I got an email from Daphne. Let's read it. She CC'd all the Garu on this email. I have identified one of the men you photographed outside Esther's bar. He is Conrad Merritt, computer technician at Neo Albion Security Company. It still isn't clear how Neo Albion connects with the greater mystery of Broadbrook Cairns Fall, but I suspect that they are involved, at least after the fact. This merits investigation to a sufficient extent that I have decided to become directly involved. I confess that some of my interest is based on frustration. It should not be this hard for me and Spider to find one security company and one Cult of Fenris operation. Yet Mr. Merritt appears to be the only possible way in to figuring out what they're doing. Neither group should be this well organized, so I want answers. Here's where it gets interesting, possibly due to subliminal awareness of his real enemies. Mr. Merritt has started looking for a pet, a wolf mix. This is illegal in Massachusetts, and it also presents us with an opportunity. Oh no, you keep reading. One of us may be able to pose as the kind of pet he wants. Then it's a trivial matter for us to follow him to his house, and from there gain access to Neo Albion, which will help us against both the Cult of Fenris and whatever's happening at the Cairn. I volunteer as tribute. Email from Patrick Hodge. I talked with Daphne Clear and I have the smartest idea ever. I bet it is, Patrick. Okay, we're doing it. I've been talking to Conrad Merritt and two things are clear. First, the whole Neo Albion operation is sewn up so tight that he might be our only way in. Seriously, I've tried tracking down other names. I've scouted the Air Force Base and talked to people there. I've pulled every trick I know and he has our Glasswalker associate. And so has our Glasswalker associate. Nothing. This guy might be their only weak link. Second, he's not a regular at Esther's, but he's used the place for drops and buys before. And he wants to buy something. A wolf. Oh no, you keep reading. Here's the plan. One of us goes home with him. All we need is one way in and we can blow this whole thing wide open. Yes, thank you. Everyone has the same plan. Let's do it. Let's do it. I volunteer. I'm ready. I'm super ready. Things can get complicated fast. That's how I roll, baby. That is how I roll. Surprise pet. Surprise pet play arc. Yep. Yep. You text the others first thing in the morning. It seems like the other Garu respond a little more quickly now that you're a heart warden with her own patron spirit. Gee, thanks, guys. Christ. You hope Stag can see you through whatever is coming. You head for Elton's apartment where everyone is scheduled to meet on their way to the bar after a miserable shift at Gorski Manor. The mad shitter is back. I remember when we had to clean the bathroom after that. I remember that. I wish I didn't. I wish he wasn't back, but this is where we are. You and Charlie, the orderly, have been trying to catch that motherfucker for months. The surprises stopped for a while, but when Mr. Weiss found a real smoker in the middle of the facility's only elevator, he called an all-hands meeting to find the culprit. You've been spying on patients all day trying to guess who it is. It could be anyone. What if it's Mr. Weiss or Mr. Gorski? I don't think it's Mr. Gorski. What if Mr. Gorski is the mad shitter? I don't think so. He's a vampire. Anyway, Elton has promised everyone food, and since you couldn't get lunch, the mad shitter hit the cafeteria. Oh, God. You hustle through the covered alley to Elton's back door. The aroma of spices that hits you as you mount the stairs is almost overwhelming. The Shadow Lord has fixed the light in the stairway, and now you can read the device above the upstairs door. Non omnis sentia latificat. I don't know Latin at all. The upstairs door bangs and rattles until Elton finally gets it open. He waves you inside past his antique bicycle and hands you a mango lassie. I don't know what that is either. Because I haven't lived in the States since 2013, so I don't know what that is. A wedding party fell through at the last minute. Or if that's some food I'm just stupid and I just don't know what that is. Two possibilities there. Maybe even more. A wedding party fell through at the last minute, he says, gesturing like an imperial chamberlain to the riches spread out before you. A half-dozen tin trays of Indian food on an intricately carved wooden sideboard. And it's from the fancy Indian place too, not that other place. No one else has arrived yet, so you swallow a pakora like a hippo gobbling down a whole cabbage. You're sipping your lassie. Oh, it's a drink. When you notice that Elton's place seems cleaner than last time. No, not cleaner, emptier. The ancient books are still there. The printouts and notebooks still scattered across the low tables, and Catherine still watches you from above the Art Nouveau fireplace. Athena is still there too, but most of the statues are gone, as are the paintings and tapestries. Lassie is an Indian yogurt drink. That's amazing. Sounds delicious. Mango flavored? Sounds delicious. Sounds delicious. Give me 14 of them right now. What happened to the art? Rent went up, Alton says, peering out the window that looks down on Main Street. I thought you owned this place, you say. It's complicated, the Thayard says. And I make $16 an hour at a used bookstore. Could be worse, though. I could have student loans. Good, here they come. The other Garu shove and jostle their way up the narrow stairs, drawn by the smell of Indian food. They tear into the remaining pakoras in a way that implies they wouldn't bother to kill a wildebeest before feeding on its entrails. Eldon, who had planned a little welcoming speech, watches their feeding frenzy, his expression close to awe. Melody hesitates for only a moment before she joins in the general fray. Your fellow Garu only reach for plates when they run out of finger food. You hurry to grab a plate before the others strip the entire sideboard of comestibles, like deep-sea eels on a whale carcass. One of my favorite things about Book of Hungry Names is that every single chapter is punctuated by multiple scenes of them just scarfing down food by the gullet, like by the scoop, by the gallon. It's hilarious. It's one of my favorite things about this. There's no dining room, but Elton has cleared off little eating zones at multiple armchair/coffee table intersections. Everyone piles up their plates, cheap stoneware, though you remember fine porcelain your first time here, and finds a place to sit among the tomes and notebooks. You smash naan into lentils and eat until your stomach stops doing backflips. You only look up when you realize that the contented silence of dinner has turned into the awkward silence of multiple people trying to figure out who delivers bad news. What? You ask. Well, you're not old enough to go into the bar. Yeah, I keep forgetting I'm like 19 or something. Melody explains, dabbing at the last of her lamb, I'm going to say this wrong, sagwala. And you don't have a good fake ID like Podge. Podge holds up his driver's license. It identifies him as Ricardo Ballywick oh my goodness. I can't. 28 of Tablecloth, Alaska. And I talked to the bartender, and the bartender knows what you look like, but I don't know why he knows you, Nin says. But we have a killer solution, Elton says. Not only can we investigate Esther's bar, but we can also infiltrate Neo Albion and maybe even make some money so we can continue to enjoy feasts like this one. Yes, I know, the pet idea, I know. How, you ask? We sell Conrad Merritt, the Neo Albion computer technician, the wolf hybrid he wants, Elton says. All eyes fall on you. I'm down. I'm so down. I'm super down. Oh, wait. Can we sell me for a lot of money? It's perfect. Indi's often served either sweet or salty, but mango or banana are also popular. Plain lassi is also a thing. I'm so sorry. I've never heard of it. I have not eaten much Indian food in my life. I'm so sorry. And even where I live here in Germany, there aren't that many Indian restaurants that I'm aware of. It's Turkish restaurants and African restaurants are much more popular here. But I would love to, I would love to try it. My two issues is I'm sort of limited in foods that I can eat. Like, I never go to a Thai restaurant because I'm allergic to coconut, and so much of their food is cooked with coconut milk. So I don't want to be a problem for anyone. So I just go, no, I just won't go, because I don't want to be someone who go and like, yes, but do you have anything on your menu that isn't, made with coconut? And I'm sorry, could I ask you to change your dishes, just in case there's any coconut residue on there? I don't want to be that person that's annoying for everybody, and I don't expect anyone to accommodate my stupid allergies. And I know that there are some things within Indian food that is with coconut, so I think I probably just either consciously or subconsciously avoided it most of my life. Now you're getting it, Elton says. Let me outline the whole plan. Sierra, you'll be the bait, dog-wolf hybrid for sale. Melody will be your apparent owner. Nin and I... Wait, Nin isn't 21, Podge says. She's like 7. He turns to the Galliard. What does your ID say? I'll be playing guitar inside. No one asked my age. Which means Nin is on lookout inside, Elton says. Look in, Nin says. Podge is on lookout outside, the Thayarch continues. Did we ever find out what those webs were that Sierra saw? Melody asks. I couldn't find anything except more webs and dead animals and chewed up leaves, Nin says. But there's probably something out there, Elton says, so Podge should guard Daphne while she investigates the pattern line with her Glasswalker gifts. Really? Nin couldn't find anything? There's definitely something in those woods around the bar. Should we wait until we can find it? Because it's creepy with the dead animals. It's creepy and gross, and Huddy does not like it at all. Bigger towns usually have one Indian restaurant. Yeah, kind of. No, I live in a city. I just think they're just not in like I live just not in my area. But not that I don't live in a big city, to be perfectly fair. It's technically a city, but it's not a big one. I was thorough, Nin says. Which means we might be up against something cleverer than it. But also, I'm also in Germany. I'm also not in the US. Which means we might be up against something cleverer than us, Melody says. Elton starts to argue before the Philodox finishes her sentence. They've been over this before. A threat that Nin can't find isn't a threat to us, the Thayard says. It's probably a minor guardian, and Orlath or something. We're going in. The others handle minor details while rummaging through Elton's stripped-down apartment for anything else to eat. Since you're apparently just a pet dog for this operation, you watch the windows. Roscoe's van circles around back. He texts everyone that he'll be stationed just up the road from Esther's in case of trouble. Podge's truck is parked nearby, no sign of the glasswalker. People hurry down Main Street, huddled against the wind. You're glad you brought your leather jacket this morning. This isn't the crisp New England October of red gold trees, but the bitter November of dead leaves and wet rain. Ah, I love it. Summer's horrible. I hate summer. Hey, Chapter 6, The Price of Gasoline and Meat. Get rid of meaning. Your mind is a nightmare that has been eating you. Now eat your mind. Kathy Acker, Empire of the Senseless. Okay, so I'm here at the end of the chapter, which means that it saved me here, and that if there is an update that happens between now and tomorrow, I won't have to replay the chapter before I come on stream. So I'm going to stop right here. Normally I go to 6:30, so I'm stopping 20-ish minutes early, but that's okay, because they're coming back tomorrow, and I might have a little surprise for you tomorrow. We'll see. I can't say definitively if I will or not, but there might be a surprise. And yes, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna pretend to be a dog, get sold off to a cult of Fenris dude. That's fun. And we're gonna investigate Esther's bar. So thank you so much everyone for being here with me. It's so very hot. I need to go strip down, take a shower immediately. I miss AC so bad. And I hope I'll see you tomorrow for the end of the week Werewolf shenanigans. Thank you so much, everybody.